We're back with you here on Gridiron. This is our Red Hurricane report with Larry Kelly. He knows a little bit about something about Newcastle and the Red Hurricane. And last week, the Red Hurricane rolled over Summit Academy 49-rip. And we kind of figured that was going to happen. That was one of my questions to you. Are we going to find out enough about the Canes in the opener, 49-0? Because, well, Mars won last week, so they're 1-0 also. So we got two teams going head-to-head down at Mars. Larry, are you happy with what you saw last week with the Canes?
Well, sure, I'm happy because they win, but I'm not a coach who's looked at the film. I saw the interview with Stacey Robinson after the game. He wasn't real happy. Apparently, a lot of the same mistakes that have been made in years past, penalties, procedure penalties, pre-snap penalties. You can't win games against good teams making those are mental mistakes that I always preach. You got to be mentally tough to be a championship ball club, which means that as part of that mental toughness, you're laser focused. You don't make those kind of mistakes. And when you do against a good team, it's very difficult. But hey, they ran the ball for over 200 yards, which all of the winning teams last week in Lawrence County, with the exception of Olsh, I think they ran it for 175 yards, ran the ball for over 200 yards. In high school football, you need to run the ball, and they have some really good running backs. I coached Kayvon Gardner, Malik Jefferson. These kids, they're great athletes, and they can run the football. And Kyrell Harris looks like he's going to be a really good quarterback. So there was a lot of good, but as a coach, when you see some of the penalties and mistakes that were made, it gives you a little bit of, let's say, agita, which is heartburn for those of you who don't understand Italian.
Okay. All right. Well, at my game, I was at the Union game, and it started an hour earlier than Newcastle. And I happened to just look down at my phone probably a few minutes after 7, and I see on our Twitter account that Newcastle ran the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. However,
Kayvon Gardner.
Yeah.
And go ahead, finish it.
I did. Yeah. I said penalty flag. Where have we seen that before? Plenty of years, and then last year too. So nothing, like you said, same old penalties and things like that. And that's what you worry about in a season opener, because sometimes that can be your identity. What you do in an opener can kind of follow you. If you're a football team that maybe has a fumbling issue, it might follow you through the season. Or if you're a team that struggles in the second half, that could follow you through a season. Well, these penalties, especially on special teams, that's where maybe a fan has to worry. Is that going to be what it's going to be like on special teams, blocking issues or delay a game or, what have you, or centering the ball over the punter's head, or, not everything of those examples happened last week, but you get what I'm saying is could be some special teams issues. Who knows?
Well, Coach Robinson did not look very happy, so I got a feeling they're gonna fix it this week. And if it doesn't get fixed, you're not gonna play. Really simple. You can't make mental mistakes in any sport, whether we're talking about basketball, whether we're talking about baseball. As Coach Belundo likes to say, winning teams are laser focused. And, that's a mindset and a culture that I'm sure Coach Robinson's going to be working on starting this week. But again, they beat a team they were supposed to beat. They ran the ball for over 200 yards. They got some really good athletes on that team, young men that I've coached, tough kids, smart kids. So it will get better, and it better get better this week because Mars is the real deal.
Yeah. You touched on an interesting point, though, Larry, when you said it better clear up or they won't play. Here's the thing. Stacey was used to 25, 27, somewhere around that at Union. You needed to clear it up because you were going to play, because the numbers weren't what they are. But at Newcastle, like you said, to your point, you better clear it up or you won't play. He's got options. Maybe they're first team option because they're not out there for first team, but he does have those faces that he can turn to and say, you get in there, for 44 or 22 or, whatever the number might be.
Now you had 65 players to start this season to choose from. So
Yeah.
you can't win if you continually make mental mistakes. And many times a penalty is just that. It's a mental mistake. A pre-snap penalty is a mental mistake. A block in the back on I can understand maybe a punt return, right? Because it's pretty tough trying to block guys. But this is a kickoff return. I mean,
Yeah.
the defenders are right in front of you. So, yeah, but it'll get better, and I'll be anxious to see how it turns out this week. Is that game at Newcastle this week?
No, it's on the road.
That Mars, right? So that'll be a real test. We'll know more about the Hurricane after this week's game.
Two things about the penalty. Number one, I do not know who was whistled for the infraction, and number two, I do not know if it was a good call or something that was far away from the play, and why did you call it, or was it a bad call to begin with? So I don't know those answers. So it's not like I want to jump on whoever was at fault on that, because I don't know if it was a good call or not, and I don't know how far away from the play it was, if it even affected the play. So
well, again, I didn't see the game. You didn't see the game. I'm basing my remarks on Stacy's interview with Cody after the game. He wasn't real happy. He just wasn't real happy, and he made it clear that there are things that needed to be cleaned up. You kind of really didn't get that sense in reading the game story, which I read, but you certainly got that impression in listening to the interview right after the game.
Yeah, and a lot of people would say, who cares if it was a good call or not? It came back. So that's the bottom line. They don't put in a box score in parentheses 4 bad calls out of 8 penalties called, or what have you. So
no, right. No, you're right. You're right. So Kayvon Gardner doesn't need a lot of room. Just stand in front of your guy, and he's probably going to give you a really good return. The young man is a great athlete. I had him last year in basketball, and he's a great kid. He has a bright future. He's only a sophomore. He's special.
Yeah. 92 yards last week. 92 yards last week on just 6 carries in that game. He's our number 2 ranked rusher after 1 week of play, behind obviously Johnny Huff, as we found out in another segment. So Larry, anything else you'd like to say on the Red Hurricane report?
No, just in that this week we'll know more about who they are and what kind of team they're going to be, because it'll be a good test against Mars. The Mars is a good football team, and they are well coached.
There's one thing I learned growing up around here. People should look out for each other, be friends and neighbors that you can count on. So it bothers me when people who are hurt in automobile accidents get bullied by the insurance company. I don't let bullies run over my clients. I do what I was taught growing up. Step up, stand up, and speak up for those who can't. I'm Larry Kelly, and I'm a Newcastle guy.